Start early. Good evening and welcome to the Los Angeles Schools Board of Education. It is 5:57 p.m. and I'm going to call this meeting to order. I'd like to welcome those who are participating in the Board of Education meeting in person. We have a very nice galley tonight. It's nice to see everyone present. And those who are watching the meeting via live streaming on YouTube or a board member joining us telephonically. We would ask that anyone addressing the board to use the microphone at the podium and to identify themselves for the record. Please remember that our microphone is super sensitive, so step back just a little bit from it if you are going to join us at the podium. As a reminder, the link to the meeting is on the district webpage under Board of Education. The streaming will run through the end of the meeting. In the event there is a disruption to the streaming, I will pause the meeting until it is reestablished.
Andre stands out as a leader in the senior class. Andre has been working with our service learning class. He was recently featured in the Valencia County News Bulletin for his work in creating CHS's free student store and food bank. He has also started volunteering regularly at the Roadrunner Food Bank with his peers. He is an active participant in our school community and has become a leader for younger students. After high school, Andre aspires to attend post-secondary training for welding and work as a welder.
Please stand for the pledge.
Of the United States and to the republic and one under this for all.
Thank you very much. Please be seated. Wait, folks, you can come on down.
I was gonna say, and you get to pick another because you get a bag coming. It's like trick or treating.
Mr. Talley isn't here, so you can swipe all of his.
You can try for all of it. Right, Tally. Good. And he'll come back and get your. So there you go. Let's do that here. Hi, Mr. Talley.
Thank you so much for being here. Pleasure to have you. You want to put all yours in there too? Thank you very much for being here. Appreciate it. Sweet. Thank you both very much. Thank you, parents, for sharing your children. We are on item C, announcement of the meeting. Mrs. Chavez, would you please announce the meeting?
This meeting has been announced in accordance with the Open Meetings Resolution and is a legally constituted meeting of the Los Lunas Schools Board of Education.
Thank you very much. Item D, the approval of the agenda. Mrs. Chavez, are there any changes or deletions to the agenda?
I would like to ask for the following items to be deleted from the agenda to allow for further review. Item K, approval of memorandum of understanding, MOU, between Isleta Pueblo, University of New Mexico Valencia campus, and LLS for Tiwa language. That was tabled at our October 15th, 2024 regular meeting. And item L, approval of district athletic handbook.
I would stand for a motion regarding the approval of the agenda with the changes suggested by Mrs. Chavez.
Madam President,
Mrs. Moya.
I move that we accept the agenda with the changes presented by Ms. Chavez for the removal of item K, approval of memorandum of understanding, MOU, and item L, the approval of the district athletic handbook for further review on both.
Thank you, Mrs. Simoia. Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
Thank you, Mr. Bennett. Mrs. Simoia has moved and Mr. Bennett has seconded the approval of the agenda with the removal of item K, approval of memorandum of understanding between Isleta Pueblo, University of New Mexico Valencia campus, and Los Lunas schools for the Tiwa language, which was tabled on our October 15th, 2024 regular meeting, and item L, approval of the district athletic handbook. Is there any discussion? Having no discussion, I will call for the vote. Mr. Vickers, how do you vote?
Yes.
Mr. Bennett?
Yes.
Mr. Tally?
Yeah.
Thank you. Mrs. Simoia?
Yes.
And I vote yes. Motion passes 5-0. Again, I would like to remind you that Mr. Tally is joining us telephonically. We no longer do the roll call. It's not in part of our board policy. We are on item E, the acting superintendent of schools report presented by Mrs. Chavez. Would you provide us, Mrs. Chavez, with the topics that you would like to discuss?
Yes, we are proud to have our student representative report from Maggie Kelly Carney from Valencia High School. We have a budget finance report from Ms. Sandy Tracek, Chief Finance Officer, and an audit committee report also by Ms. Sandy Tracek, Chief Finance Officer, and a construction update from Mrs. McMahon, our Director of Facilities. So we will start with our student representative. Maggie Callie Carney is a senior at Valencia High School. She lives with her parents, Tiffany and Eric Carney. She has one brother, Austin, a VHS graduate who is now a student at the University of New Mexico. Maggie is student body president, National Honor Society member, and a student mentor for the Los Lunas schools. She is in the top 3 in her class. Student council and her studies take up most of her time, but when she has the chance, she likes to read mysteries. After high school, Maggie plans on attending a top college to study psychology and criminology to be a special agent in the FBI. Fun fact, Maggie was a driving force behind getting 3 new trees for Valencia High School last year. They were planted on Earth Day. Under Maggie's direction, Student Council brought awareness to Valencia High School students about our local bee population that was recognized as outstanding at the New Mexico Activities Association State Student Council Convention. Environmental awareness is one of Maggie's passion projects. Maggie Kelly Carney was chosen by the staff at Valencia High School because of her high energy, her academic success, and her commitment to the student body. She demonstrates the character of a Jaguar by being an outstanding student and role model at Valencia High School. Miss Maggie Kelly Carney, the podium is yours.
Good evening, Madam President, members of the Los Lunas School Board of Education, and Acting Superintendent Chavez. Thank you for the opportunity to speak with you about Valencia High School. It is truly an honor to be able to represent the faculty, staff, sports teams, clubs, and most importantly, the student body of VHS here this evening. It is always busy up at Valencia High School, as high schools tend to be, and I want to start by calling attention to the wonderful sports teams at our campus that made it to the state playoffs. Both the Jaguar varsity football team and the varsity volleyball team played in the first rounds of state. The football team played Bloomfield this past Saturday. The students and staff of Valencia High School are so very proud of the accomplishments of both these teams, as well as all the other fall sports and everything they were able to achieve this semester. Valencia's own National Honor Society ran a Socktober drive to help those in need of clothing this holiday season. And our wonderful drama club was able to put on their second show entitled Puffs. The drama team also had the opportunity to attend the Broadway show Clue at Pope Joy Hall, which is all thanks to Angela Glimpse Johnson and Sophia Corona, who applied and were accepted to participate in the Broadway for Teens program for the second year in a row. Ms. Navarro, the drama advisor, has worked tirelessly for this drama program and has grown it substantially over the last 2 years. She has inspired so many young adults to branch out and learn more about the show production industry, and I am very, very excited to see what else they will accomplish over the course of the next year. On November 14th, juniors had the opportunity to take part in mock interviews. This gave them the chance to get some interview and resume experience. Next, I would like to shed a light on the group of students who will be traveling to Paris, Switzerland, and Munich during our spring break. They will be traveling with Mr. Navarro, who also happens to be our student council advisor. Finally, as the VHS student body president, I would love to showcase the accomplishments of the student council has achieved and also plans to achieve this school year. One exciting achievement that we have completed this year is the senior parking lot painting. This is actually the first year Valencia High School has been able to do this, and we definitely wouldn't have been able to accomplish it without the support from our admin and their diligence to get the parking spot painted and cleaned up. Student Council also ran an amazing homecoming week, which started late September and continued all the way to our annual homecoming dance, which was on October 5th. In all 4 years of my high school experience, I have never seen such participation from both the faculty and the students. The Student Council ran a community night October 18th, which was the same evening as our literacy night. Though it was quite windy, everyone still seemed to enjoy the food thanks to Superintendent Chavez and staff, and the reading on the football field, as well as the Pink Out Night, which was to show support and awareness about breast cancer. Coming up, Student Council has been planning a toy drive project, which is still in the works, but we hope to bring toys to those who might not be able to get gifts around this holiday season. We also recently set out new recycling bins around our campus. Our plan is to use the plastic collected from these bins to bring awareness to the amount of plastic waste our student body contributes to in just a span of 3 months by turning that plastic into an art project and a resource for students to look back on. As you can tell, there is a lot going on at Valencia High School. We really appreciate the support from our community. We would not be able to do any of this if it was not for their support and trust. Thank you again for this opportunity to represent Valencia High School and to share all the wonderful things that our student body has done this year and plans to do in the future.
Thank you very much. So we have a few questions. I am sure I'll begin with Mr. Vickers.
It sounds like you're very ambitious. Have you already been in touch with the FBI or?
Yes, I did an FBI Teen Academy a couple years ago too.
Great, that's great. I know they recruit at college campuses for sure, so good luck with that. Thanks.
No, I just want to thank you for being such a good ambassador for Valencia High School and also Los Angeles School District, and I wish you the very best.
Thank you.
Mrs. Simoia?
Absolutely. Ms. Kelly Carney, I don't know who's beaming more, you, the staff from Valencia, who is like, or your parents. I really don't know, but you did an incredible job representing the school. I do have a question about your toy drive. You're taking toys from the general community, and where can those toys be brought to?
Yes, so we're still planning the project, but as far as I know, we'll be accepting toys from the community to our school, the campus of Valencia. So,
Okay, will it be posted up on the school website so that we have an idea when we can bring toys back?
yes, sir.
Absolutely. Congratulations and good luck. We're proud of you.
So I am very curious about your interest in the bee population. How did you start there?
So it was a part of our environmental awareness last year, and it was kind of more of a pivot of a project. We started the trees project, but got a little bit stuck somewhere, and we weren't able to plant those trees. So as leaders do, we pivoted, and we decided on bringing awareness to bees, especially winterizing for the bees. And we were able to give out stickers and give out resources to our students about how we can help bees and their importance in the New Mexico environment.
What is one thing we should do to help winterize for bees?
Um,
Not that they're my favorite, but I'm gonna try and support the Jags here.
well, we can stop using pesticides, even in the
Okay,
winter,
great.
you know, it sticks around and it affects the soil and they stay in their hives for the winter, but even during that, they still need food, so.
I noticed, or you also talked about the mock interviews. How many students participated?
It was the juniors and we invited all the junior class to participate during their English classes, so.
Okay, good enough. And you're really very active. I'm intrigued about the plastic as an art project. Where did you come up with that at?
It was actually our student council advisor. He was in an airport
Hmm.
and he saw something and he thought it was interesting and we kind of took it and made it our own idea to kind of show how much plastic we use around our campus and how we can transform it into something a little bit more beautiful and useful.
That's wonderful. Mr. Talley, do you have any questions for our student? Mr. Talley? Apparently, Mr. Talley does not have any questions. Thank you very much for
Thank you.
joining us and good luck this year. Top 3, that's pretty amazing.
Great.
Congratulations. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. California. You did amazing. Thank you. I would like to bring up Ms. Sandy Tracer for our budget finance report.
Madam President, members of the board, Acting Superintendent, Mrs. Chavez. So I brought up, the lists that we go over each month. And I kind of wanted to bring out, some of the things we have, like on the operational. We have at the very last column, the 26%. It's actually the same percentage that we had last month. But that's because we have a large amount there. If you were to compare last month to this month, the amount spent or encumbered has increased by 815,000 approximately. And then the next one in the student transportation, that negative in the second to the last column, that also grows each month. Not necessarily everything in there. There are some open purchase orders that are there for emergency. For example, tires, transportation is going to have POs open for tires and all kinds of things that could possibly happen that they have open that may never be used in total. But they are there just in case we wouldn't want to have to open up a PO for something that needs to be done immediately. I also added at the bottom, I went through and I put a total on this time. So if you look at all of you can see what up there kind of in the middle, that grand total. That first column is the grand total of all budget authority that we have. So every time that we do go to finance and board and we ask for bars, which may say an increase or a decrease, those will add or subtract to that column. Sometimes we receive new awards and so that will add to that amount. Excuse me. So if the bars that just have transfer, that's just moving monies around, that's not going to affect that column. Then the next column with the spender encumbered is just I'm at a point in time. This is as of November 13th. And the amounts that have been spent in each of those funds, the amount remaining, and then the percentage remaining. So if you look at that grand total, overall, all funds, there's still like 35% of the funds remaining. And like I've said in the past, that does seem like a low amount for this time period, but many of those funds are actually with people on contract salaries that are already in those numbers as far as either spent or encumbered. Any questions on that so far? The next area that I have on there is the revenue. And I just put in the operational revenue, so that is the amount of revenue that I put in the budget this year for the operational fund. And then the next column is the amount of revenue that we have received so far. And then the next column is the amount of revenue I expect that I anticipate that we will receive by the end of the year, and then the percentage remaining. So at this point in time, a lot of the main amount that we receive in operational is our SEG, and that comes 1/12 of it comes each month. However, there are some big things in there, like the indirect costs that we only post those quarterly, so you only show one of those quarters in there at this point. And that is all I have for the state of the finances so far. If you have any questions on any individual funds or.
Members of the board, do we have any questions, Mr. Bennett or Mr. Vickers?
No, I don't.
Mr. Bennett?
No, thank you.
Mr. Tally, do you have any questions? Ms. Simoia?
Not at this time. Thank you, Sandy.
I do have one. I don't know. Maybe it's just appearing to me now for the first time. Looking under fund number 27413, regular 22 SB 212 school bus infrastructure. We have not encumbered any monies on that one. Can you help me understand what that is for? And I mean, I guess I find it a little odd that we haven't encumbered anything yet, given that we're in November.
Right. That is actually a fund that we received last year. And we had talked to the state about possibly expanding that project. So what happened is they gave us $50,000 for a propane tank for our propane buses. However, just putting in a propane tank is not something that we can just put in. It's going to have to be on a concrete slab. We're going to put canopy over it. So it's a much larger project. So what happened just recently is they sent us the award with an extended expiration date. And then we also have another fund, but that's next month. So it came right after finance.
Okay.
So once that's done, so next month, we're actually going to be, you'll be receiving a bar to add to that, and there'll be a lot more activity. And
Oh, okay. So the funds that we're expecting will add to the project so that we can actually do the total project
Correct.
as it should have been.
It'll be in the same fund number. It'll just, we'll have more budget authority after you approve it next month, and
That makes sense to me. And I trust you. So, but boy, the budgeted revenue compared to the grand total, those numbers say warning, warning. Would you please help alleviate my nerves just a little
so
bit?
it's still very early on it, so there are a lot of, excuse me, I've been losing my voice. There are a lot of other things that just will catch up in time, so I'm
Okay, so we'll get a good night's sleep again, maybe about May. So there's no panic about the finances. Thank you, Mrs.
Thank you.
Grayson. I appreciate it very much.
And the next thing I have is for the audit. I am able to, the audit is still confidential because it is now it has been sent off to the state auditor. And so the state auditor will be looking at it. But what I can tell you now is that the audit was submitted on November 14th. And so that is on time. And now we are awaiting the state auditor's approval. And once we receive that approval, then we'll be bringing it to the board for final. And then we can finally talk about it.
Thank you very much.
Question,
Yes, please.
is the audit committee done meeting? No more meetings? for the
We
time
will-
being?
We'll probably still be meeting. I know, we will be meeting kind of, maybe not as frequently. We might skip maybe until it's out. But then we will discuss like what we've done so far. If there were any audit findings or something like that. So to be determined on when it'll be next.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Mrs. Tracer. I invite Mrs. McMinn to the podium.
Madam President, members of the board, Acting Superintendent, Ms. Chavez, thank you for having us, our department tonight, to be able to present some of the construction progress we have going on throughout the district. So I'll start with our Los Angeles High School Stadium Phase 1 project. I think a lot of people, what I've heard, they're starting to kind of see the vision come to life with that front entryway being completed and pulled together. We've started breaking ground on where the concession and restrooms will go. So that continues to make progress. Another area that we're starting to see movement is our West Side Transportation Project, which includes a large canopy that will be over the activity buses as well as asphalt repairs. We're also doing electrical improvements due to old wires and infrastructure that needed to just be replaced. We did receive our permit on Friday to do the canopy, so that will start getting more traction in the coming weeks. And as many of you know, we're started our central office parking lot, which is always hard. And I think we get to see some of the challenges that our school sites face when we have ongoing construction and we still have to continue work. It can be a challenge. So we want to thank everybody here at central office for being flexible with us as we get that going, as well as all of our school sites and the challenges that it poses when we have construction while we're continuing to teach our kids. Upcoming projects that we have next month will begin constructing the KGE and Toma Elementary carpet replacements. So we've had some POs sitting for a while. Those will be done during Christmas break. We also have Los Angeles High School and all our stairwells and kind of entryways. Our hand railings need to be fixed up and painted. HVAC unit replacements. This was going to start last month. We've actually been able to make progress. The blue gym, that unit was replaced this week, as well as one at Valencia High School. And then this weekend, we'll see the one at Los Angeles Middle School replaced. And then we also have one of the main water heaters at Bosque Farms Elementary on order to replace that as well. One thing I want to highlight that we kind of don't, we always focus on construction and we utilize a lot of outside vendors to get this work done. One of the avenues that we've been focusing in our department is utilizing our skilled workers that we have in maintenance. And we have a lot of license and people with various skills. And so some of the things that they've been able to tackle in helping save the district money by doing this work in-house is exterior lighting improvements. We've been able to go around and replace kind of exterior parking lot lightings. Most of them were done here at central office, as well as some at Valencia High School. We have ones ordered for Valencia Elementary, and we're continuing to look at other campuses in the evenings as we have all these after-school activities. Project Keys has expanded to other areas, so we understand there's a lot of dark spaces. One thing we want to thank our SROs that have been working with us on identifying what spaces are really important. And we've been able to utilize security funding to buy solar exterior lighting. And those have been going up at KGE this week. And that's just a rapid response to getting lights where we need for our kids when they're getting picked up in the evenings. And so we're hoping to find a lot of success getting those put in rather than waiting for electrical lines to be run. We can put those solar lights up. Another area that we've had maintenance help is in our bathrooms at Bosque Farms Elementary. This week, they began replacing all the valves on the toilets and the sinks, which we had some water issues during our storm. And maintenance has already tackled a huge part of those bathrooms to mitigate that in the future. So we were able to do that in-house as well as we have licensed plumbers to do the work. And we also have some licensed carpenters that have been able to rebuild cabinets, cubbies, bookshelves that were water damaged. Those are also being done in-house. So lastly, we want to highlight another project that we had on hold for a while and we're able to now do in-house thanks to our new skid steer that we received this week. We received it on Monday. It went straight to work at Toma Elementary. So we're doing some landscape improvements to help with potential water problems that we're having with the landscape around the building, and we'll be doing some xeriscaping there, and that will also be done by our grounds department. And then lastly, we want to just touch base on the next slide. Talks about Peralta Elementary. We're starting to see splashes of color go up in the buildings. This is in our pre-K wing. which is all fully painted. And they are putting all of our security systems, our data lines, everything for technology is getting put in. And then this week, we started receiving all of the cabinets for those pre-K classrooms will go in, as well as the drop-down ceiling. So it's coming really fast. And the last slide, also, if many of you've seen, they've been working on stucco. They've kind of unwrapped that for an early Christmas present. If you drive by, you can start seeing that final colors of stucco go up. And then they'll start continuing that as they close in the other building. In here on the left, what you're looking at is the upstairs wing for the 4th through 6th grade classrooms are all framed out. So now they'll be drywalling those in. And then to the right is from upstairs looking down into the library. That will all be glass encased, and it'll have a viewing into the library and bring in more natural light from outside up to the upstairs room as well. So with that, I stand for any questions.
Mr. Vickers.
We would like to do that at the first of the year. That way we can get some of those cabinets in. You could start seeing the vision of all of the committee's hard work. You know, we've had such an array of departments from student nutrition, transportation, security, special services, have all had a part in bringing this vision to life. And then now that we have color in there, we'll have lighting so you can walk through safely. And then cabinets. The flooring will obviously be the last thing we put in, but I think you'll get more of a perspective of everything come the beginning of the year. So we can plan for that.
Mr. Bennett, any questions?
No, thank you for keeping updated, and thanks for that work you guys did on Bosque Farms to take care of that flood. That's awesome.
Mr. Talley, do you have any questions or comments? He's got me on mute again.
Or he's talking and doesn't know he's on.
Unmute me, Mr. Talley.
Absolutely. 2 questions, Ms. Tiffany. The Bosque Farms water heater replacement, is this impacting student hygiene as well? Or where exactly is the water heater that needs to be replaced?
Water heater is towards our kitchen area. So there's 2 water heaters in there. We are doing a larger water heater. So right now that's functioning, it's older and it's in need of replacement. So we're doing just preventative maintenance and making sure that gets taken care of.
Thank you on that. On the HVAC unit replacements, for a while there, we were having difficulty getting supplies and parts for repair for HVAC systems. Has that supply chain loosened up a little bit for our team?
Like anything in construction, it may be loose today and it may be tight tomorrow.
Yeah, okay.
So right now we've been fortunate that we've been switching over from the cooling. We found a lot of our issues were with the cooling over this really heavy hot summer that we had. And so right now, so far, we've been able to replace some of the heaters that we need in those spaces. And we continue to look through our preventative maintenance and identify units for upcoming replacement as well.
Fantastic. We thank your team for taking the extra step and doing these repairs and these work for themselves. I love that they have the skill sets to be able to do that. And that just makes them even more valuable. Not that they weren't, they are very much so. Thank you.
Mr. Talley? Okay, so a couple of things. First of all, I agree with you about the Los Angeles High School Stadium. I was up there a couple of days ago and it is starting to look just really grand. I think that is going to be so exciting. It'll be nice when it's done because it's kind of a maze getting in, but I mean, it's going to be worth the wait. It's really very nice to see this. Oh, Mr. Talley tells me he can't unmute me. I think that that's an excuse. And I am also very excited to hear that you're doing as much with you can with our very skilled and talented workers. And I appreciate that you highlighted them this time. That's very nice to hear that. And I would also like to thank the entire maintenance staff for your very quick, rapid response during our unprecedented snow day. I know you guys were uniquely challenged with a variety of interesting things to make the day exciting for you. And it's kept it going that way. And I appreciate also the administration's response because I know we had some teachers and whatnot pretty frustrated with one of those particular events. So thank you very much for doing that. And I'm looking forward to the tour in Peralta. Now, did you say that the library was, that if we're looking down on that slide, that's going to be, students will be able to look down into the library. Is that right?
Yes, it'll be all glass encased, like on the 2nd story. So in the library so the picture on your right,
Okay.
that it it'll be all glass to the outside. So then what it does is having glass in the inside allows more of that daylight to funnel into your school. And where I took the picture standing there, if I was to turn directly around, that's where the cafeteria is. So it's a one big open space, and it's to draw that light in and make it really bright and inviting, and bringing that nature inside with having those views and sunlight that could come in.
It's amazing. I'm so excited for the design. It looks terrific. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mrs. McMahon. In early November, we had an unexpected snowstorm that many of us were not prepared for, neither were the trees that were in our community. Power outages impacted our community as a result of the storm, and we had a remote learning day. I would like to thank all of our employees who worked tirelessly to clean schools and repair damages from the storm without power. So thank you. Thank you all for your hard work and effort and dedication to our district. We were able to resume school as quickly as possible as a result of the work of our amazing employees. I would like to thank all of our fall sports coaching staff and student athletes. The fall season concluded this past weekend. Our Los Lunas High School and Valencia High School football and volleyball teams competed with class in the state football playoffs and state volleyball tournaments. We are very proud of our Tigers and Jaguars and look forward to supporting our student athletes this winter season. We had a very successful staff professional development day on November 4th. The structure of the day resembled a conference format. Staff chose the sessions they attended during the day. Feedback was very positive. Thank you to all our staff members who made the day a success, and we look forward to our next staff professional development day on January 7th. We had some exciting news last week. The school designations from the 2023-2024 school year were released. 5 of our schools, Allen Parish Elementary, Los Lunas Elementary, Los Lunas Family School, Thomet Elementary, and Valencia Elementary, improved to a traditional designation. Bosque Farms Elementary and Catherine Gallegos Elementary were designated as Spotlight Schools. Congratulations. We are very pleased with the designations and will continue to strive for Spotlight Schools. Thank you to all our staff and our students for their dedication each and every day. The Los Lunas School District Report Card is ready for approval by the school board. It is on our agenda tonight. School districts across the state of New Mexico are required to publish their annual district report card by November 15th of each year per NMSA 1978-22 2C11. The district report card contains crucial data, including the district's mission and vision, results from standards-based assessments, graduation rates, absenteeism rates, as well as teacher and staff information. It will be on our website, and we will also be led to the New Mexico Vistas website, so each school site will be able to review their designation. And we are very pleased that the majority of our schools are on a traditional designation, so congratulations to Los Lunas schools. The 80-day count is on Monday, December 2nd. This is the day we return from Thanksgiving break. We are preparing for this important count day and continue to monitor student enrollment on a routine basis. And finally, we will be closed for Thanksgiving break, November 27th to the 29th. We would like to wish everyone a wonderful and restful Thanksgiving holiday. We are very thankful for our students and staff, and I am very blessed to be a part of this amazing district. That concludes my report.
Thank you. Do we have any comments from members of the board? Mr. Vickers?
Well, I do appreciate all the work that everybody does through all the school sites to bring this, you know, to have the achievement that we have attained, made great strides from the previous school year. So very good to see.
Mr. Bennett?
Yeah, I agree. Congratulations to all of them for all the hard work they're doing and continue to do so. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Mr. Talley? He's unmuting me. I'll come back to Mrs. Simoia.
Yes, I received lots of feedback in the community about the professional development and the formatting, and every bit of feedback was that they were engaged in it, and it was very interesting, and they got to select what they wanted to participate in. So I hope that we can continue to offer professional development that's meaningful and that of value to our employees. So good job.
Just for the record, Mr. Talley does not have any comments. I would like to echo the sentiments about the improvement with our school status. I do very much appreciate that we have 2 schools in spotlight. I am anxious about our proficiencies, and I know that we're going to be setting some goals and looking at what we need to do to start targeting those proficiency rates. We'll start talking about that in January of 2025. So I don't want to take away from the celebration tonight. But I want to go on record that some of our numbers, we need some work on. So we have, but I think everybody's aware of that, and I appreciate that we're willing to start somewhere and project forward. I also want to talk about our Los Angeles Schools educator licensure level. 10 of our teachers are national board certified educators. I did not realize we had that many in this district. That is incredible. So congratulations to those 10, and I appreciate that they're in our district. I also appreciate that 44% of our educators are at a level 3 or national board. So kudos there to the support that they get from our HR department and through their principals, et cetera. So I think that that's amazing. We have a high quality staff, and I'm very excited to see that we're on the cusp of having a higher percentage of our teachers being at level 3 or NBC. So that's compliments to good leadership and good teachers who have a desire to excel and challenge themselves a little bit more. So thank you very much for those things. If there are no other comments, item E was for informational purposes only. No action is needed or warranted at this time. We're on item F, board commendations. Mr. Vickers, do you have any commendations? Mr. Bennett.
Yeah, I've got a couple of students from Los Angeles High School, Demetrio Pino and Dominic Armijo, they signed with Fort Lewis College to compete for track. And also up at Los Angeles High School, Mia Mendoza is going to be playing volleyball from Mexico State University. And I want to send out a special thanks to Jose Aldrete, who he took the oath to be a member of the New Mexico National Guard, and I appreciate that, and I thank him for his service.
Thank you very much for that. Mrs. Simoia?
Yes, more of a shout out since Valencia is representing big time in the audience tonight. For those of you who participated in FFA growing up, the Valencia FFA will be hosting their annual pie auction. If you've never been to an FFA pie auction, this is the most fun you can have with your clothes on, and it involves pie. So what could go wrong? This will be held Monday, November 25th. So if you don't want to bake a pie for Thanksgiving, they do a phenomenal job. The students are responsible for baking their own pie, merchandising it, and placing it up for auction. And let me tell you, some of those pies go for like $1,500. You can still get a reasonable pie, but this is a fundraiser that they do for their annual conference to attend. Again, Monday, November 25th, it'll be held at the UNM Valencia campus. Preview is at 6 p.m. and 6:30 p.m. is the auction. I will be there and
With your clothes on.
with my clothes on. With pie. So what can, it doesn't get any better than that. And then I did want to express a thank you to central office. My husband was the precinct judge for the election day, and he was assigned to this location. A special thank you to Miss Wolf, who showed up at the crack of dawn to allow the election staff to get in and get set up and kept them warm and kept lots of coffee in there for them. Miss Kittredge, who supports her constantly, making sure that they're taken care of. Most of them don't get a break during the day. And then John Chef as well. John, our IT person, basically, my husband said he hadn't experienced someone with that quality and basically on it support. They also got along very well with choice of music while they were setting up. So I wanted to basically make a shout out to the team. So be sure to relay that. Thank you, guys.
Thank you very much. Okay, several of mine were mentioned, and thank you for your input. I appreciate each one of the board members who've found something positive that we can talk about. I was remiss last week and did not thank those members of our staff who are veterans and have served as we celebrated Veterans Day. In particular, I'd like to do a shout out for Mr. Bennett, who is a former or a vet Army. Is that correct?
Coast Guard.
You swim?
You said Point is to stay in the boat.
I learned that the ditches are around here.
Mr. Vickers, were you also in the service?
Air Force.
Air Force. Well, thank you very much. So I did not do that, and I want to apologize for my oversight in that particular one, and I'm not familiar with other members of the staff that are, so that's my oversight. But I wanted to thank you for your service and also thank the members of our staff who are former service members as well. So thank you very much. And with that, we will move on to item G, public comment. Mrs. Chavez, how many speakers have signed up to provide comment at tonight's meeting?
We have one speaker.
Okay, before we move to public comment, I would like to remind our audience of the board's procedures for handling public comment, which are found on Board Policy B2150 BEDH. Public comment is limited to 5 minutes per individual speaker. However, the board president may further restrict or waive these time limits based on the number of speakers. The board welcomes public input. The board does not prohibit public criticism or comment upon personnel matters, but does discourage personal attacks on board members, staff, personnel, or other persons. Presenters are cautioned that statements or representations concerning others that convey or unjustly unfavorable impression may subject the presenter to civil action. Any person making public comment shall be solely responsible for the content of his or her comments. The board neither adopts nor assumes responsibility for any comments made by individuals during the public comment section of the board meeting. Sorry about that. So our one speaker will be Mr. Michael Ogas, who is the director of SOTA. I'm sorry, I had to interrupt here. And he would like his topic is discussion and consideration of approval of board resolution number 24-009 regarding the distribution of capital improvement 2 mil and capital building 3 mil tax levies. Mr. Ogas, if you would join us at the podium, please. And while you are walking that way, Miss Maggie, if you would like to go home, and you are more than welcome if you have homework and this is just not that exciting. I invite you to go.
Good evening, members of the Los Lunas School Board and Acting Superintendent Chavez. Thank you for the opportunity to speak. My name is Michael Ogas. I am the founder and superintendent of School of Dreams Academy, SOTA, a New Mexico State authorized charter school. Currently, we serve 465 students in grades pre-K through 12. I come before you this evening to encourage the board to pass the resolution included in tonight's agenda. It is, as the President said, item J, discussion and consideration of approval of board resolution number 24-009 regarding distribution of capital improvements, the 2 mil and capital buildings 3 mil tax levies. That resolution will include School of Dreams Academy in the tax levy distributions from HB 33 and SB 9 taxes. This action is essential to correcting the unfortunate oversight in the recent mill levy election where SOTA was mistakenly omitted from the board's prior resolution. Historically, SOTA has been included in the past 2 mill levy elections and 3 mil in the years 2012 and 2018. This inclusion ensured equitable distribution of resources to benefit all students and families across Valencia County. SOTA has always shown steadfast support for the Los Lunas schools and their activities to pass these types of mills by supporting them in passing out flyers in support of any election that you've had. Passing this resolution tonight is not about going beyond what the law requires, but about ensuring that the law is followed. SOTA is simply asking for what is fair and required under New Mexico law for charter schools and for the inclusion it has received in the past. By taking this step, the Los Lunas schools will demonstrate a commitment to equity, accountability, and collaboration. Moreover, this decision will reinforce the positive partnership between SOTA and the Los Lunas schools. Our shared goal is to serve the children and families of Valencia County with excellence in education, and this resolution is a critical step in continuing that collaboration. Therefore, I strongly urge the board to approve item J on tonight's agenda. Together, we can ensure that all schools in Valencia County have the support they need to thrive and serve our students effectively. Thank you for your consideration. Madam President, I have with me tonight Mrs. Sue Fox, our legal attorney, and we plan on staying through your item in case you have any questions or discussions. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Ogas, for your comments. You were absolutely correct. We are very pleased to be in partnership with SOTA. We do like that our students in Valencia County have options that keep them in Valencia County and with our talent, et cetera. Are there any other comments?
No comments.
There are no other
No comments on public.
Okay, I am going to call for a small break. Mr. Talley is having some technology issues, so we're going to take just a brief break and see if we can get things reconnected just a little bit. So we're on break at 6:52 p.m. This should be less than 5 minutes or so. He's saying that I think the whole note. So he's gonna hang in.
Let's do that.
I call the meeting back to order at 6:56 PM. We are going to step back for one moment. We are going to stay in item G, public comment. We had a little technology issue and one of our speakers was, we inadvertently did not receive her paperwork, but that is okay. We are familiar with her and we appreciate her time with us. Mrs. Amber Rodriguez, would you please come to the podium? Thank you so much.
Can you hear me?
We can. Yeah.
Good evening, Madam President, board members of Los Lunas Public School of Education and Acting Superintendent. Mrs. Chavez, thank you for the opportunity to speak on behalf of the parents and community of Los Lunas. This evening, I will be praying the 10 Commandments over the students, parents, educators, and administration of Valencia County, Los Lunas Public Schools, and the schools of New Mexico. The two scriptures referenced for tonight's prayer is Exodus 20, verses 1 through 26, and Deuteronomy chapter 5, verses 1 through 22. Number 1, thou shalt not have any other gods before God other than God. Number 2, thou shalt not make yourselves any idol. Number 3, thou shalt not take the Lord's name in vain. Number 4, remember the Sabbath day and keep it holy. Number 5, honor your father and mother. Number 6, thou shalt not murder. Number 7, thou shalt not commit adultery. Number 8, thou shalt not steal. Number 9, thou shalt not testify or bear false witness against your neighbor. And number 10, thou shalt not covet. Lord, I come to you before you tonight and I pray these 10 words over the children, facilities, parents, caretakers, and community of Las Lunas, Valencia County, and the great state of New Mexico. In Jesus' name, amen. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Rodriguez. I appreciate your time and I appreciate your presence at our meeting. We are now on to item H, which is approval of the consent items. I would stand for a motion regarding the consent items.
Madam President,
Mrs. Simoia,
I move that we approve the consent items with the exception of item J, discussion and consideration of approval of Board Resolution 24-009 regarding distribution of capital improvement 2 mil and capital buildings 3 mil tax.
A second.
thank you. I have a motion by Mrs. Simoia and a second by Mr. Bennett to approve the consent items with the exception of item J, discussion and consideration or approval of board resolution number 24-009 regarding the distribution of capital improvements. Is there any discussion? Having no discussion, I will call for the vote. Mr. Vickers,
Yes.
Mr. Bennett,
Yes.
Mr. Talley,
Yes.
Mrs. Simoia.
Yes.
And I vote yes. Motion passes 5-0. Now we are on to item J, the discussion and consideration of approval for the board resolution. I would like to say for the audience's knowledge, we do have one of Los Lunas Schools attorney, Mr. Art Melendres, on a separate phone. So we just have a lot of phones going on up here. Mr. Talley is on one and Mr. Melendres is on another. So I'll be asking for some assistance here. Do I just hold him up to the mic if I ask him to speak? That would be awesome. Okay, we are on item J, the discussion and consideration of approval of board resolution number 24-009 regarding the distribution of capital improvements 2 mil and capital buildings 3 mil tax levies. Do I have a motion to approve this?
Madam Chair, I move that we approve that resolution in 4-009.
Thank you very much. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Do we have any discussion?
Madam Chair,
Yes, Mr. Vickers.
after the now therefores, the district and the School of Dreams Academy Charter School are directed to work together to determine the formula for reimbursement of the amounts determined to be due to the School of Dreams Academy Charter School in coming years. The first point, and so I'm wondering is who will be on the team that will make this decision? We've had issues in the past of just giving carte blanche approval for such things and regretted it. So I just want to know who's doing it, and will it come back to the board with a final decision that we can vote on to approve? Like a dollar figure or something like that?
It's a very good question. And I'm looking for the right phone to ask. They seem to move.
Just to repeat, the question is who is going to be on the committee that determines the amount of money that will be distributed proportionally under the statutory formula?
That
I
is,
believe, is that correct?
that is correct.
And then will we have an opportunity to approve the final decision?
Yes, so I believe that it will be the superintendent and the financial officer of the district in collaboration with the PED and the state treasurer to determine the proportionate distribution. Once that number is approved, I am of the view that SOTA will also be consulted, but will be advised, and they will find that number because it's a formula satisfactory. Once that number is determined, then the board will be given the opportunity to be advised of the process by which this was accomplished and what the amount would be coming in from the tax revenue. And I just want to say that may not be tomorrow because as you know, you will get your tax bill or may have gotten your November tax bill.
Yes, I
So,
paid mine. Yes.
so in there, there is a line item for the school district and the percentage or millage. So that will have to be taken into consideration, but I think very soon we will be able to determine that amount and will, I say we, the district, advise the board.
So this is an advisement, not a motion to approve the amounts.
Well, this is a motion to approve the process by which a determination will be made in accordance with the statutes. The specific amount is what will have to be brought back to you to let you know what the specific amount is. But we have to have your approval to do this so we can go through the mathematical calculation.
Thank you. I have one question. Because this was a special election, the district front-loaded the costs, as you well know. And I'm going to see if I recall accurately, those costs were in excess of $100,000. Is that correct? I'm sorry? $111,000. So when the formula is determined by the persons you referenced, Mr. Melendez, will the costs also be proportioned out so that SOTA will receive their fair share of the costs for the special election? How is that included?
Yes, that is my expectation. So, I think, just for numbers to begin with, I believe there are approximately 8,500 students in the district. And I believe there are approximately 500 students attending SOTA. And so we begin to get that proportion all scaled up. I'm not a very good mathematician, but it's probably in the range of 6%.
5%.
And we will work with that to do a proportionate distribution for SOTA.
Madam President, I have the numbers for our district of approximately 8,300 and the number given to us was 465 for SOTA. And I'm coming in at about 5% is what I'm showing. But thank you, Mr. Melendez. Calculator girl, yeah. You've had it.
Thank you.
Dr. Duffy,
Yes, Mr. Talley.
this number is something that will be calculated yearly based on attendance. So
Yes.
we calculate it every year.
I believe it's calculated on enrollment, not attendance. Is that correct? Mr.
Enrollment,
Melendez?
attendance.
On the post-reporting period of the district and the charter school. I need to double check, but I think it's the 40th day. Enrollment on the 40th day, I believe.
So because the enrollment changed annually, will this percentage be recalculated annually?
Yes. Yes.
Did you hear
Thank
that?
you.
Did you hear that response, Mr. Talley? You did?
Yes, thank you.
Yes.
Okay. Are there any other questions for Mr. Melendez? Mr. Bennett, you have none? Mr. Vickers?
No.
Mrs. Simoia, do you have other questions?
No, so I just want confirmation. So all we're asking is for a vote to approve the resolution so that they can begin the discussion, correct?
That's all we're asking for, is a vote to approve the resolution, which as Mr. Melendez stated was the process. And then we will come back and advise the board of what those amounts are. Does that meet your question, Mr. Vickers?
Yes.
It does? Okay. Thank you, Mr. Melendez. We appreciate it very, very much.
Thank you. Thank you for putting up with my silly phone.
We're having all that fun today. Thank you.
No problem. Thank you, Mr. Melendez. Okay, are there any other questions? I will call for the vote. Mr. Vickers, how do you vote?
Yes.
Mr. Bennett,
Yes.
Mr. Talley,
Yes.
Mrs. Simoia,
I vote yes.
and I vote yes. Motion passes 5-0. I will read the resolution at this time. Los Lunas Schools Board of Education Resolution Number 24-009. Board of Education of Los Lunas Schools District Number 1, resolution authorizing distribution of capital improvements and capital buildings tax levy receipts. Whereas the Los Lunas School District Number 1, the district, held an election on November 7th, 2023, seeking voter approval to impose a tax levy for capital building improvements pursuant to Section 22-26-1 New Mexico Statutes Annotated 1978, and on August 13, 2024, seeking voter approval to impose a tax levy for capital improvements pursuant to Section 22-25-1 New Mexico Statutes Annotated 1978, and whereas the voters of the district approved the imposition of the capital buildings tax and the capital improvement tax levies, and whereas the questions posed to the voters seeking approval of imposition of the capital building tax and capital improvements tax should have included provisions for distribution of proceeds from the levy to the School of Dreams Academy Charter School, SOTA, in accordance with sections 22-25-3C, 22-25-7C, 22-26-3C, and 22-26-9 New Mexico Statutes Annotated 1978, and whereas For inexplicable reasons, the School of Dreams Academy Charter School was not included in the tax levy questions which were approved by the voters. And whereas distributions of the tax levies will be made to the district in the full amount of the levies, and School of Dreams Academy will not receive any of the tax levy proceeds. And whereas the district desires to correct the failure of distribution of tax levy proceeds by reimbursing the School of Dreams Academy Charter School for the amount of money School of Dreams Academy Charter School would receive in years 22 through 2026. And whereas the district has informed the Public Education Department of the State of New Mexico, PED, of this error of non-inclusion in the election resolution submitted to voters. And whereas the PED has advised that a reimbursement distribution can be accomplished with approval of the Board of Education of Los Lunas School District Number 1. And whereas the Board of Education of the Los Lunas School District Number 1 desires to concur with the district's recommendation and PED's approval that reimbursement should be made, and that failure distribution should be made to the School of Dreams Academy Charter School in accordance with sections 22-25-7C and 22-26-9 New Mexico statutes annotated 1978. Now therefore be it resolved as follows. The Board of Education of the Los Lunas Schools District Number 1 adopts the following resolution. 1. The district and School of Dreams Academy Charter School are directed to work together to determine the formula for reimbursement of the amounts determined to be due School of Dreams Academy Charter School in coming years. And 2, after determination of the amount to be reimbursed, the district is to make the reimbursement to the School of Dreams Academy Charter School and notify the PED of the action taken by the district and the School of Dreams Academy Charter School. And 3, the district and the School of Dreams Academy Charter School are to cooperate with the PED and any other party necessary to assure that future distributions of tax levies are correctly and timely distributed in accordance with section 22-25-7C and 22-26-9 New Mexico statutes annotated 1978. On this date, November 19th, 2024, Board of Education of Los Lunas School District Number 1 by, and it'll be Dr. Michelle Osowski, President, and the attestament of the Secretary of the Board, which will be Mr. Justin Talley. Thank you, everybody, for your timeliness with that. I do appreciate it. Mr. Ogas, I wish to say again that we are in full support of the efforts with the School of Dreams Academy, and we do appreciate that our kids have another option with your particular school, and we look forward to a terrific partnership moving forward. And we hope to correct and get things in board policy, so maybe the next board president won't be reading a resolution. So thank you very much, and thank you for being here. We appreciate it. Okay, I believe we are on to item P. Is that correct? Am I there?
Yes.
Yes. New business. This time, I will ask if there are any board member requests for topics to be discussed on upcoming work sessions or regular or special meetings. Any special requests? Mr. Vickers?
Madam Chair, I'd like to have a report from the administration regarding vacancies among the staff.
Would you like to see that at the next board meeting?
Whenever, it's not necessarily at the next meeting, but I'd like to just see where we're at with that. I know all the districts are struggling with teacher shortages, et cetera.
Thank you very much, Mr. Vickers. Anything else?
No, that's it.
Mr. Bennett?
I have nothing at this time. I'll get you though.
Mr. Talley, do you have any requests for topics for upcoming board work sessions or board meetings?
Yes, actually, in the last work session, Mr. Vickers presented a rewrite of a policy that we discussed.
Yes.
And I was hoping maybe that on the next board meeting, next regular board meeting is fine, that we get the first reading of that. So we can move on with that.
Sure, first reading. Anything else, Mr. Talley?
That's it.
Mrs. Simoia?
I don't have any at this time. I think we have a lot of policy that we're still working on and would like to finalize and get those kind of tightened up so we can bring them for official readings and get those out to the public.
That is correct. Along that line, my topics will be during a work session. We do have several recommendations for changes or additions to existing board policy in section B. And I did find that the policy service had sent us recommendations for policy updates in May. So I will put those on the next work session. So we will have a busy work session. We'll set that date coming up. And so that we can move those on hopefully by the next board policy or the next board meeting, but we'll have a work session before then. So thank you very much for those items. I appreciate that very much. We are on item Q, announcement of meetings. Oh, and this information was for the purpose of gathering input. No action is needed for any of these items at this time. Item Q, announcement of meetings. This brings us to the announcement of meetings as allowed by the Open Meetings Act and the District Open Meetings Resolution. On occasion, a quorum of the board members attend the same function, including school and district celebrations and ceremonies, as well as sports functions, conferences, workshops, trainings, and community events. Board members will refrain from discussing and or acting on Los Lunas Schools Board of Education issues in those settings. In addition, only official meetings are published, and if other meetings are scheduled, they will be announced in accordance with the Open Meetings Act. With that being said, I would like to announce the following meetings. December 10th, 2024, Finance Committee meeting in the Central Office Conference Room at 3:00 p.m. Also on December 10th, the Audit Committee meeting in the Central Office Conference Room at 4:00 p.m. Attendance is by Audit Committee members only. December 12th through the 14th, 2024, the New Mexico School Boards Association Annual Convention. This will be held at the Embassy Suites Hotel, 1000 Woodward Place Northeast in Albuquerque. This is for boardmanship training, which is required in statute, and a quorum will be in attendance. We have December 17th, 2024, regular board meeting in the Central Office Boardroom at 6:00 p.m. And we are planning a board retreat for Thursday, December 19th, 2024. That the place is to be determined and the time range will also be determined. We have to talk about a couple of attendance or possible attendance issues with all of the board meeting or with all of the board members. This brings us to item R, which is the adjournment. With that being said, I would stand for a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Thank you, Mr. Bennett.
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Vickers. Mr. Bennett has moved and Mr. Vickers has seconded to adjourn the meeting. I will call for the vote. Mr. Vickers,
Yes.
Mr. Bennett,
Yes.
Mr. Talley,
Yes.
Mrs. Simoia,
Yes.
and I vote yes. Motion passes 5-0. Meeting is adjourned at 7:22 p.m. Thank you very much for your attendance. We appreciate it. Please have a happy, thankful, and restful Thanksgiving break.